I was watching on Friday night when the Common Ground segment on Brett Baer's special report, where you and Raja Krishnamurthy, your ranking member, and first let me say you embarrassed every Packer and Bears fan in the world with that bet. That was the weakest bet I've ever seen between Packers and Bears fans. Did you get pushback from Green Bay? Like that was just weak sauce? What'd you bet?
Wait,
Cheese curds?
beer and cheese? That is the only thing to bet. That is the currency. I
Right?
don't actually use cash. I only pay for things in beer and cheese. That is how I barter. I live in the barter economy.
No one will bet with you for beer and cheese. Second story, it didn't come up in the. It did look like you and Raja get along pretty well. The committee is working well. I have suggested to Ro Khanna last week that the committee expand to include AI issues. Has that come up with the leadership? Because if you've got a committee and it's working together on a complex subject and the CCP is all tied up with AI, doesn't it make sense to put AI regulation into that committee?
Well, in my mind, it does. However, there are other standing committees who would object and jealously protect their jurisdiction. Now, the good news is Roe is my ranking member on the subcommittee on innovation for the Defense Committee in the House. And we actually have jurisdiction over AI use in the Pentagon. And so we had an AI hearing on the city subcommittee, and we're sort of brainstorming creative ways to heighten the issue, raise awareness, and perhaps do something akin to a debate in that committee where we might pit one of the AI skeptics, one of these people that signed the letter arguing for a pause, against one of the leading AI optimists or proponents. And I think that would be a useful discussion, and I think a productive tension to highlight on the subcommittee. Now, I recognize the subcommittee is not going to get as much attention as the full committee on China, but Roe is very forward-leaning on these issues and very easy to work with.
I agree. I just think that since you don't have a standing jurisdiction ability to introduce law, that the subcommittee might be the place, the full committee, the select committee might be the place to have a robust and extended conversation about the AI challenge. Let me switch this other last headline today, Congressman. China bans iPhone use for government officials at work. Front page of the Wall Street Journal landing page this morning. Were you aware of that ban? What's your reaction to it?
I just read, I think it was in John Ellis's roundup this morning. So I only read the summary of it. I was immediately reminded of the steps that China is taking to restrict social media use among its young citizens. And of course, remember, Hugh, as we deal with the problem of TikTok here in America, which is both highly addictive and effectively controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. In China, the version of TikTok they allow their kids to use, Douyin, is very different. It is not dumb cat videos. It promotes science and learning, and they're only able to use it for a few hours every single day. And I just think it's striking that they seem to recognize the addictive and destructive potential of this application and have taken steps to restrict it. At the same time, they're happy to see American children poison their minds with it. So as for the broader smartphone ban, this is the first I'm hearing about it. I would say, as much as we would all do well to use our smartphones less and get off of our screens and model good behavior for our kids, we don't want a government. Well, if you're a government worker and you're going into a sensitive facility, you don't have your phone and you shouldn't have your phone. And there are obviously rules that come with being a government worker and getting access to government information. But by and large, the beauty of our system is that the government can't tell us.
Can we pause on that? Would you explain to people why you cannot take your iPhone into the West Wing, or I don't know if you can take it into DOD anymore, into the Pentagon, but you can't take it into the West Wing. You have to put it in the lock boxes out front, the wooden lockbox structure. Why is that? Would you explain to people why we do that?
It's not secure. What happens on that phone could be monitored. It could be used not only to track your location, but to listen to what you're saying. It's not on a secure network. It's not a secure device. And so without getting into more classified details than that, it's just not secure. So be wary.
I've told people that
will be monitored.
I've told people that they do not know when their phone is on. They have no idea when their phone is on because like 5% of the terms and conditions people willingly sign include the right to activate your audio recording without your consent. Do you think the American people know that?
No, I sometimes wonder if they care, if they're willing to sort of trade security for convenience, or maybe again here, Hugh, we're dealing with an issue with the silent generation and technophobia. So if you could speak to your fellow silent generation members, Hugh, and educate them. I'm of course joking, and was
I'm a
hoping
boomer. I'm a proud boomer.
Well, I was actually trying to make a joke about your baseball team, but then I looked up baseball teams' age average, and the Guardians are actually the youngest team in the MLB.
Yes.
So I have to give you a point there. So that's exciting.
Well, we're not. We're only 7 games out with 20 games to go. We'll see how that goes. Good luck. I'm not going to make a bet with you because I'm not going to bet curds with anybody about the Browns and the Packers.
What do you bet?
But just look over your shoulder.
Ohio has nothing. There's nothing you can bet.
All we could do, we could bet Ohio State gear versus University of Wisconsin gear because we know who's going to win that game. Congressman Mike Gallagher, chairman of the Select Committee on Engagement with the Chinese Communist Party. Thank